Hello everyone, welcome to the video on discussion on problem statements. This video is created to discuss on the problem statements which are given in various programming courses. So the video's programming statement over here will be for a tuple, okay, tuple and a list. Let us move to the problem statement. So our problem statement revolves around a hypothetical story of the famous character of Jon Snow. So he is given some task by his father in order to do multiplication and addition of the polynomials. So we already know what polynomials are in a mathematics. So suppose this is a polynomial from like 3x to the power 4 minus 7x square minus 3x plus 5. So if you are given two polynomials, so what you do is you add the coefficients of polynomial with same powers of x, and then you get the result. And in the similar way for multiplication, you multiply each of these terms to the all the rest of the terms of the other polynomials. Over here the input will be given to you in form of the list of tuples. In this way the input will be given. Okay, so suppose this is the input given, so how, like what it represents, that I will tell you. Then how you can multiply or add two polynomials. So let us move to the explanation. Suppose this is the polynomial given to us. So this polynomial means over here every round bracket represents a coefficient and the power of x. So over here the first round bracket is saying 3 and 4. So it means 3x to the power 4. Okay, so the second term is the power term and the first term is the coefficient term. Okay, next term we see is 17 minus 17. So we will write minus 17 x to the power 2, because 17 is the first term, so 17 will be the coefficient and 2 is the second term, so 2 will be the power of that. Okay, next term when we move on, it shows minus 3, so it will be minus 3x. X to the power 1 means x. And then next term is 5, so we will write plus 5, and then x to the power 0 is 1. So this is the actual polynomial which is represented by using this equation. So you don't have to convert it into this. When the input is given in this way, it means that the polynomial is this. Okay, suppose I have one more input. I'll copy this input and convert it into one more input. So input 1 is this, which means it represents this. And in the similar way, input 2 is suppose this. Okay, so I'm just changing the coefficients, 5x to the power 4, then 7 to the power 2, then 4 to the power 1, and then 10, 20. Okay, so this input represents 5x to the power 4. So I'll convert it into coefficients later on, plus 7x to the power 2 plus 4x plus 20. Okay, so this is how this is the representation of this particular polynomial. So I will quickly convert it into polynomial terms. Okay, so these are the two polynomials. Now you will have a function known as add poly. Add poly will take two inputs or two polynomials, polynomial 1 and polynomial 2. That means your add poly will take two lists. The first list is this one and the second list is this one. Okay, so this is a list because it is surrounded by the square brackets, and in the list the individual elements are tuples, which are round brackets. So for simplicity, first you don't take any inputs. You can declare the inputs, hard code the inputs, then try to solve the problem, and then you can try taking the input. So what add poly should do? Add poly should add the coefficients of similar x terms. Suppose I want to add this with this, so my answer should be 8x to the power 4 minus 10x cube square, okay, plus x plus 25. Okay, So my input should look like this when I do this. So I'm just explaining you how it should look like, what it actually means. But your output, what your output should be, your output should be in the form of the list of tuples, in which the first thing will be 8 comma 4, the second tuple will be minus 10 comma 2, the third tuple will be 1 comma 1, and the fourth tuple will be 25 comma 0. Okay, so these lines I have given just for understanding that what they mean, but your input will be in form of this and this. These will be the inputs. Let me color it in some other, highlight them in some other colors. These will be the inputs and this should be the output. Okay, so this is how your program should work. Okay, so you have to think of the logic that how you are going to add these two. Okay, so you have to check out the terms, the second terms of each of these. Okay, and in this also there is a condition given that the terms are always going to be in increasing order. It will not be so that x to the power 2 will be given first, then x to the power 5 will be given. Whatever term is having highest power will be given first, then lower, then lower, then lower. Okay, so over here I have taken the terms which are having same what to say, powers, like 4, 2, 1. It might be possible that your input, the second input, is not having the x to the power 1 term. This could also be possible. So what you have to do, you have to take each tuple at a time. You have to check out the second term. Then you have to match that second term to the second coefficients of the next input and then add the first coefficients. Keep the second coefficient as it is. Okay, so over here you can see the terms are 3 and 4. So 3 or 4 are added and it is giving 8. The coefficient is taken as it is, which is 4. Then 70, minus 17 and 7 are added, which is minus 10. 2 is kept as it is. Then the third term, I have deleted the third term from here. So it is giving this different kind of output. And then the fourth term, which is 5 and 20, which is 25, and the coefficient, the power is 0. So this is how add poly should work. Okay. And in the similar way, you have to create one more function, which is multiply poly. Multiply poly will also take two polynomials, polynomial 1 and polynomial 2, and it will give you the multiplication of these two. Okay, so in multiplication, I suggest that you start with a small input like x plus 1 into x plus 2, something like that, and you multiply each of the terms with each of them. Okay, so this is how this problem statement goes. So this is related to adding the polynomials and multiplying the polynomials. Okay, so you don't have to pay attention on the explanation, like you can understand the explanation, but you have to pay attention on the output. Okay, so this is your problem statement.